welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be starting yet another reading vlog for you guys, but I'm very excited about this one because I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. So I have been thinking about what books I want to read for this vlog, and I just cannot come up with a TBR for it that feels, I don't know, satisfying to me. I feel like I have so many different books that I would like to read right now that I just can't pinpoint which ones I want to read right now. So I figured, seeing as I've never done a TBR jar style video ever before, I would give it a try because it kind of seems like the perfect solution to my issue right now. So I've gone through every single book that I have in my physical TBR. I have about 54 right now, I think. I have my Notion page up on my computer. And I went through all of those and I kind of just picked the ones that I was thinking maybe I would be okay with reading right now. So I have like some spookier books and some classics that I have not added into this TBR because I have like other plans for those, obviously. And I've also added in all of the library books that I currently have physical copies of, so I'm going to, you know, have access to all of the books regardless of whether I actually own them or not. So I'm very excited about this. This is honestly just gonna be like a normal, like casual vlog. I'm gonna do all the stuff that I normally do in my vlogs, but we're adding in a TBR jar, and I'm using this cute little Halloween one, obviously, because it's like the perfect little TBR jar. So let's go ahead and pick our first book. I'm honestly like kind of nervous, excited, but nervous to see what I'm gonna end up getting. I think I'll probably end up reading 3 books out of this TBR jar, depending on how long they are. Some of them are a little bit shorter, so like maybe we'll do 4. It kind of just depends on what the jar decides to give me. So just gonna give her a shake. And then, wait, now I'm actually scared. We're gonna just do a little U. I like this one. Okay. What's the first book we're gonna be reading? Okay, interesting. This is a very interesting first pick because this is a very short book. I think it's like a little short story collection that I've been meaning to read forever, so this is actually perfect. I didn't even tell you what it is. Also, I'm pretty sure mask is spelled incorrectly on this, so like don't worry about that. But we're gonna be reading The Mask of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe, which is not what I was expecting, but let me grab it. Initially, I wasn't gonna add this one in here because I was like, do I want to read that one now? But I decided just on a whim to go ahead and throw it in. So we have The Mask of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe, and I did spell mask incorrectly. I knew it was wrong when I was writing it, I just didn't fix it, but this is, I think it's got a couple of them in here. A couple of these I've read because it's like a little collection of some of his work. So I'm gonna read The Mask of the Red Death. I have read The Fall of the House of Usher. I've also read The Cask of Amontillado. I'm pretty sure I've also read The Pit and the Pendulum and The Telltale Heart, so I don't really have a lot of things to read out of this. So I will at least, you know, finish up those stories that I haven't read out of here, so that'll be fun, but I feel like this will only take me about 20 pages. So I'm gonna read this one, but I'm also gonna go ahead and choose my next book because I'm gonna finish this one so quickly. So I'm just gonna go ahead and shake these up a little bit better and pick a hopefully longer book. So I will probably end up reading 4, seeing as that one's gonna take me like 20 pages to read. This one, let's see. I will let you guys take a look at it first. What am I reading? So it looks short, what are you? Oh, Ariadne! Oh my god, this is actually so perfect, hang on. I am very happy about this because this is actually my March Patreon buddy read pick, and I feel like maybe it's not the best idea to read it so early in the month, but it'll also be good to like have read this book and I won't be like stressing towards the end of the month. So we're gonna be reading Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. I'm so excited about this. I've had this on my TBR for maybe a little over 6 months and I just haven't gotten around to it, but this will be perfect. So here are the 2 books that I'm gonna be starting out with. I'm so happy with like both of these pulls. This will be great, honestly. So there's the, you know, starting books, very exciting. But as for other things that I have planned for this weekend, not a lot, but I'm definitely gonna do some journaling. I have a couple of spreads to do in my Hobonichi, and I also want to decorate like the first page of my Hobonichi because I haven't gotten around to doing that in my new one yet, so I'll do that at some point. I also am still working on my star blanket. It's over here. I haven't really made much progress since the last time we chatted, but I think it's maybe about where it has been because I've been on a sewing kick recently. I will show you some of my like sewing things that I've made a little bit later on in the video because I know some of you guys have asked for that, so I'll do that. And that's primarily what I've been focusing on for the week. So the star blanket has not been worked on at all, honestly, but I would like to do a little bit more on here, maybe like a couple more rows. And aside from that, I'll just kind of see like what else I get up to. But like those are my immediate plans for this like however many days I'm planning on filming this vlog. But yeah, I'm very excited to get into my reads. Definitely not what I was expecting, but I don't really know what I was expecting. So yeah, I will see you guys maybe later today with an update. I will definitely have finished The Mask of the Red Death. And hopefully I will have made some progress in Ariadne. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm so excited to see what other books I'm going to end up pulling throughout this video. So I hope you guys are excited as well. And let's just get on into the vlog. currently a couple days later. It is Monday now. So I went to class this morning, which I'm so excited because it is currently my last week of class for the semester, and I'm so ready for class to be over. Next week is finals week, so I'm not like done this week, but I'm so close to being done and I'm so excited for summer. Which is like the only time you will ever hear me say that, because the only time I actually like summer is like the first week of summer after school is out, but like anytime after that, it's too hot. But I do get excited about summer for like 0.3 seconds, so like that'll be fun. But I'm mainly here because I have some reading updates because I finished a book. And I started a book, so we're gonna talk about it. First of all, I did finish up The Mask of the Red Death and the other two stories that I read out of here. So the first one that I read out of here was the title story, The Mask of the Red Death, and I really liked this one. It's basically about this sickness, which is called the Red Death, that has been plaguing this area. And this really rich guy invites a lot of his really rich friends to this abbey that they are going to just hole up in, not allow any people of the public to come in and infect them. And you know, all is well for a while until he throws this like masquerade party. And naturally, something bad happens. I just really loved the writing, I loved the story, I loved the themes, especially of like the kind of class disparity that is exemplified through this guy and all of his rich friends being able to like go to this area, be provided for like 6 months and everything's good, whereas everybody who like can't afford to do that is literally dying from this plague. So I thought that was kind of an interesting theme to throw in there, as well as just like the inevitability of death and all that fun stuff. So I liked The Mask of the Red Death. I really liked a lot of the like gothic tones to it as well, because it takes place in this abbey and there's this weird like set of 7 rooms that the masquerade party is taking place in. I just really liked all of that, and I would recommend if you're looking for a short spooky story. The other two I didn't like as much, but one of them I did like. It was called The Black Cat, and it's about this guy who has black cats and he doesn't really treat one of them really well, but naturally the cat does end up getting its revenge. So I thought that one was interesting, and I really liked how that one was told, because you're kind of being told this story in the future of this guy recounting these weird experiences that he's had with these black cats. So you know something's gonna happen, but you don't know what. And I feel like it was that not knowing what that like really propelled me through the story. Of course, that one was really short too. It was only like 15 pages, so not a lot to be propelled through, but I was intrigued. It was definitely very grim and macabre, and it deals with themes of like alcoholism and all of that kind of stuff, but I thought it was interesting as well. And then the one story that I really did not like, which was unfortunately the longest story that I had to read out of here, was Ligeia. I'm not exactly sure if that's how you pronounce that, but it's about this guy who gets married to this woman. She's called the Lady of Ligeia, and I swear the first like 5 pages of this story are just him talking about how beautiful she is, and I'm like, to some extent that's okay, I guess. But he started expounding upon like the beauty of her forehead and her nose, and I was like, it's a little much, like just a bit. And you know, there were some interesting things going on because the Lady of Ligeia ends up dying and he ends up getting a new wife, but you know, some weird ghostly things may be happening. But for the most part, that one bored me. It's probably one of my least favorite Poe stories that I've read, although the one that comes after that story in this book is actually my least favorite one. It's The Cask of Amontillado, and it's literally just about this bottle of alcohol. I don't exactly remember anything else about it, but I remember being incredibly bored by it. But the rest of them I really liked. I think my favorite out of this collection is The Mask of the Red Death. I really enjoyed that one. But I read The Telltale Heart a couple years ago and I liked that one too. So some hits and some misses. But overall, I am happy that I was finally able to get to this. I've been wanting to read more Poe stories. I've just never really prioritized them. So this video was kind of the perfect thing to finally get me to do that. So there's, you know, the first book that I pulled, done. And then I've also started my second book, which was obviously Ariadne. I'm currently 103 pages into it. I think I'm almost at part 2 maybe. Oh, do we get different POVs in part 2? Oh, we do. Oh, I'm excited about that. I'm not at part 2 yet, but I'm almost there. But I've been really enjoying this book so far, which I'm not really surprised by. I mean, I figured I was gonna like it. Who doesn't like Greek mythology, you know? And I really like following Ariadne as her main character. Basically, part 1 of this story has been focusing on the Ariadne, Theseus, and the Minotaur kind of situation. Like, that myth is really what it's been focusing on, while kind of touching on other myths as well. So thus far, we've kind of just been focusing on Ariadne and what her life has been like growing up. She is a princess of Crete, and her father is a Cretan. not in like the sense that he is from Crete, but in the sense that like he's gross and I don't like him and he's a Cretan, you know what I'm saying? I don't like this man, obviously. I feel like you're gonna be hard pressed to find a king in Greek mythology that doesn't suck, honestly. But we've been focusing on how the Minotaur came to be and kind of Ariadne's relationship to him, and how even though he's her brother and she does kind of feel some pity towards him, she's also terrified of what he has become. Because when he was younger, he was kind of easier to tame and he kind of showed more humanity. But as he's grown older, he's become more and more of an issue. So Daedalus built like the labyrinth that he hangs out in under the palace that's in Crete. And in the last couple chapters, we've been focusing on the fact that Minos basically Hunger Gameses the people of Athens and demands like 14 tributes every single year as a sacrifice for them killing his son, presumably killing his son. And we've been focusing on Ariadne as she is getting to know Theseus, who is a tribute, but he is also a prince of Athens and he like volunteered in place of somebody else. So he's basically the Katniss Everdeen of Greek mythology. His like, you know, main plan is to go in and take down the Minotaur, so this is no longer an issue and he can kind of make a fool out of King Minos in a way. So we're kind of watching as Ariadne is struggling with the fact that her father is doing this, because obviously it's incredibly unjust. This book also in general has just been focusing on the mistreatment of women in Greek mythology, which is not a new topic for sure. It brings up, you know, the very famous example of Medusa, but it also touches on like a couple other instances of that as well, especially with Ariadne's mother, Pasiphae, I think is maybe how you pronounce her name, which is obviously just a big theme of a lot of these Greek retellings, and like pulling focus to those injustices that happen to so many women in Greek mythology, which is obviously interesting, if a little bit overdone, but I still really like enjoy those themes being woven into the story and kind of seeing how Ariadne is learning about them and feeling about them and like doing something about them. So I'm just liking it a lot so far. I like Ariadne as our main character. I like revisiting a lot of these Greek myths. Most of them I do know, but like there are some that I have to kind of Google and get reacquainted with, and it's kind of fun. So I'm really interested to see where the rest of the story is going to go, because as I said, we've kind of made it almost all the way through the Theseus and the Minotaur kind of bit that's going on. So I don't exactly know where the rest of the story is going to go. Obviously, as I said, Dionysus is going to come into this, or maybe I didn't say that in this video. I don't remember which one I said that in, but like Ariadne does have some ties to Dionysus, but I don't know what they are, so like that's gonna be kind of new to me, so I think that'll be interesting. I know she really likes to dance, and I know Dionysus does throw some razors, shall we say, that a lot of people dance at, so maybe that's where the connection comes in. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm definitely gonna find out, because I will be reading a lot more of this today, hopefully. I'd really like to finish it today because honestly, I just want to draw my next book. Like picking out of the TBR jar is just fun, you know? So hopefully I'll be able to do that tomorrow morning. Maybe. I feel like it's a really fast read, especially now that I'm like into the story. I'm invested in what's going on. So I'm very happy that I was finally able to start this book and actually get into it. I feel like it's always the starting of the books that's the struggle, but like once I get into it, then I'm enjoying it. So that's kind of how my reading has gone thus far, and I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow morning to pick our next book. All right, it is now Tuesday morning, and I'm here with a bit of an update because I have indeed finished up Ariadne, and I really enjoyed this book, and I'm so happy that I finally got around to it because I loved it. It wasn't quite a 5-star. I think there were definitely a couple of spots in the middle that I thought dragged just a little bit, but I just absolutely loved the themes of this book. I loved the writing. I loved how beautifully tragic it was in a way, because there were a lot of really heartbreaking and sad moments throughout this book, but I feel like they were really nicely juxtaposed with that like beautiful writing style that really evoked the feeling that you kind of get when you're reading a Greek myth and these awful things are happening. So I feel like it made a lot of sense for this story to be told this way. I also just love the writing style in general. I thought it was lovely, honestly. I really liked that even though the myths are being told in a less formal and more kind of accessible way for a modern audience, it does still keep those touches of it feeling like you are actually reading a Greek myth. Specifically, I really liked how the passage of time and how the weather was depicted, because instead of it just being like, oh, the sun went down, or like the sun came up or whatever, it would be more along the lines of, you know, Helios drove his chariot across the sky and like a new day dawned, or something to that effect, and then like the same thing with Selene in her chariot. So I just really liked those small touches as well. I also just, you know, enjoyed the story overall. I enjoyed following Ariadne as her main character, despite the fact that she definitely makes some interesting decisions over the course of this book. I also really enjoyed that Phaedra, who is Ariadne's sister, kind of became a more prevalent part of the plot in book 2. It does end up splitting into 2 different POVs, so you're following Ariadne and Phaedra after their paths like diverge and they are going on very different life journeys. And initially I kind of found a lot of Phaedra's chapters to be a little bit not boring necessarily, but I was always kind of waiting to get back to Ariadne's POV, but I see why it was told in the way that it was, and as the story progressed, I appreciated that choice a lot more. I really liked following the dichotomy of their 2 lives, because even though they have a very similar upbringing, obviously both being princesses of Crete, the way that their paths diverged and the different things they are experiencing and the different people that they are encountering, I loved being able to see both of those and how both of them were feeling about their lot in life. I also just really enjoyed getting to learn about the myths that surround Ariadne and Dionysus, because previously I did not know anything about them, so like the entire back half of the story I was just like, I don't know what's gonna go on, honestly. As the story goes on, the divide between gods and mortals, even though it may seem small at first, it definitely starts to widen as Ariadne learns more things about Dionysus. And I just really liked how the relationship was portrayed in this book. So overall, I really loved this. I would absolutely say if you liked Circe, you should really read this book, because it feels very reminiscent of Circe to me in the way that it's told, in the writing style, and the themes that it touches on. I would definitely recommend this. If you like Circe and you're looking for another Greek retelling, I personally really enjoyed this one. I would obviously though love to know what your guys' thoughts on this are. I think this definitely does stick very close to a lot of the myths that it is dealing with, which may not be the most interesting thing for some people, but I feel like if you don't know anything about these myths, you'll probably enjoy this a lot. Really happy that I was finally able to pick this book up. I've been saying I want to read it for like months now. So I'm happy that I finally did, and I really, really liked it. So definitely want to read some more books by Jennifer Saint. I don't think I've heard the best things about Hera, which might be her most recent book that came out, but I'd really like to try, what was it, Electra? I feel like I've heard good things about that one, so I'll definitely have to give that a try. But if you guys have any other Greek myth retellings that are in the vein of like Madeline Miller, Jennifer Saint, please let me know. I have not read The Song of Achilles, do want to put that out there, but I will be hopefully soon. Like after reading this, I'm like, I want to read all the Greek things. So anything else though, let me know your recommendations. But now that I finished Ariadne, we all know what time it is, because it's time to choose my next book. And I'm like, again, nervous but excited to see what I'm gonna be reading next. I feel like this is just filling me with too much anxiety, honestly. Ooh, one fell out. It's a library book, so we're gonna see what I'm gonna be reading from the library. What are you? As to say. Oh, wait, no. Hang on. I'm so excited about this. Did you even see what it was? I don't know. We are reading Empire of Shadows next. Hang on, let me go get it. This is a book that I've been quite excited about. It is a historical fantasy, I think like maybe rom-com adventure situation for, it says for fans of The Mummy and Romancing the Stone, which again, I have not seen, but maybe I'll watch that soon. We'll see, but like I cannot wait to get into this because I just feel like I'm really gonna like it. I'm so happy that this got chosen. This is perfect. So that's what I'm gonna be reading next. Definitely a different vibe from Ariadne, that's for sure. But yeah, this definitely works. Very happy about this. So plans for today, as I said, it is Tuesday. I don't have class today, so I don't really have much to do, especially because my semester is winding down. I don't really have a lot of assignments, so I have a lot of free time today. So I think I need to go to the mall because I need to return something. However, there is a Barnes & Noble in the mall that I'm going to, so might have to stop in, might have to do a little bit of book shopping, and then later, I don't really know what else I'm gonna get up to later, but reading, book shopping, sounds good to me, honestly. So very happy with how this video is going so far. Finished 2 books to go, so yeah, I will see you guys later with an update on Empire of Shadows. right, hello everybody. Winnie is obviously with us at the moment. She's like sitting on a little stool that I have, but that's too bad because she has to say hi. And she's so happy. Anyway, it is a couple days later. It is currently Friday morning. I just got back from a presentation. It is one of the last things that I have to do for the semester, and I'm so happy that it's done, honestly, because I hate with a burning passion giving presentations, so I'm so glad that it's done. But we have some things to talk about. I did go book shopping a couple days ago. I didn't find anything, which I'm honestly like kind of proud of myself for. I was initially going to pick up Overgrowth by Mira Grant because it came out on Tuesday when I went book shopping, but they didn't have it, which was honestly so rude. But in more exciting news, while I was out book shopping, I actually met one of you guys. So if that was you, Taylor, hello, thank you again for coming up to say hi. It was so fun just to like meet one of you guys. It was so cool. So yes, and then I also went on a little rainy walk later in the day, which was super nice as well. So just a lovely, lovely couple of days. But I'm mainly here to give you guys my first update on Empire of Shadows because I have read a decent chunk of it so far. I'm on page 141, so I'm on chapter 16. And I think it's gonna be so fun. But the only problem is that I think this book is way too long. Like, I'm already getting the vibe from this first 140 pages that this book is probably going to feel a little bit too long. Like, when I first picked it up and I realized that it was 450 pages, I was like, you know, it's not crazy. But like, just from how long it's taken things to happen in this book so far, I'm a little like, I don't know how the pacing's gonna be. But overall, like the characters and the situations that our characters are in, I think are going to still be entertaining and fun. So I'm not like that mad. Also, my opinion could change, but like thus far things have felt like a little bit dragged out. But I'm really excited for what has been set up because basically we are following our main character Ellie, who gets fired from her job. She works in the, I can't exactly remember where she works, but as she was being fired and she was like in her boss's office waiting for him to come fire her, she ended up being a little bit nosy and she found this really rare map. She found this really cool amulet that could potentially lead to this lost city. So she's like, oh dang, like I gotta check this out. And as she is leaving, she overhears that there is another guy that was like aware of it and he is looking for it, and he's like, I don't know, presumably beating the crap out of her boss so he can then get this thing. So the kind of, you know, more antagonistic guy realizes that it's her who potentially has it. She ends up literally fleeing the country. She's like, well, I gotta go somewhere and I kind of want to look into this ancient, potentially lost mythical city, so I guess I'll just go do that. So we're following her as she is, you know, going on this adventure. She's going to these places that she's never been before. She's never even seen them before, even though she's been studying them for years. So that's been kind of fun. But as she is, you know, trying to progress her exploration of this potential city, she realizes she needs a guide that is like very familiar with the area that she's trying to go to. And the only person who seems to be a good fit to be her guide is this really annoying guy. His name is Adam Bates. He is, I don't remember what his job title is either, honestly. But they don't exactly get off on the wrong foot. There's a bathtub snake situation that goes down. And through some turns of events, you know, he is going to end up taking her to this place. So a lot of forced proximity, which I obviously love. They're also like basically going on a quest, which I also absolutely love. She has this map that is basically taking her to this place and people keep making fun of her. They're like, okay, so it's literally a treasure map. And she's like, but it's not a treasure map. Like it's history. But there's like a little X on it. So they're like, okay, obviously it's a treasure map. So in my mind, if there's a treasure map, then there's a quest. You know what I'm saying? But we've just recently gotten to the point where they have embarked on this mission. Obviously, they don't really get along. They definitely butt heads a lot. I think a lot of it is Adam's fault, but I also do think a lot of it is Ellie's fault as well. She is very mistrusting of men, which like to a point, I'm like, absolutely be wary. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like sometimes it's really over the top to the point where Ellie is doing really kind of ridiculous and inconvenient things for the sake of feminism. And I'm like, okay, I like it and I get it, but it might be like a little too much at times. So like, that's just kind of one thing that I've noticed. Although I am really interested to see how this series is going to be historical fantasy romance, because thus far there have been no fantastical elements at all. So I feel like I kind of maybe see where that's gonna come in, but I'm interested to see how it's executed and what is done with it. So thus far, I'm having a pretty good time. I'm very excited to jump into it and read a lot more of it today. Even though I do feel like the first part has taken a little bit to get going, I was reading a bunch of it last night and I truly couldn't put it down. It's just been fun. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling about Empire of Shadows right now. Definitely going to be reading a lot of it today. And I think I'm also going to do a little bit of baking today. I have a bunch of rancid bananas, but like not rancid in a way where I can't use them, but like rancid to the point where they're perfect for banana bread. So I'm gonna make some banana bread because it's been a while since I made some banana bread and it sounds good. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do some reading. I don't really think I have any other plans. So that's kind of what I'm gonna get up to on this lovely Friday afternoon. It's currently 11, so like not afternoon yet, but it will be afternoon very soon. So I think that's everything I have to update you guys on. I'm hoping I can finish this book tomorrow, maybe, because it's already taken me too long to film this vlog. So I gotta kick it into gear, but also I am just excited to read more, so I don't think that'll be too hard. So I will see you guys at some other point in time with an update. So it is Sunday morning. I feel like I've been doing a really bad job at like consistently updating this vlog every day, but I'm here with a couple of updates. I'm here with a couple of fun things that I have acquired recently as well. So let's chat. I think first I want to show you the things that I've acquired recently, and then I'll give you a little book update because I have finished Empire of Shadows, so we'll talk about that. But first of all, I want to show you the book that I was finally able to pick up from the library that I'm so excited about. Because I finally have my copy of Oathbound by Tracy Deonn. This is the third book in the Legendborn cycle, and I've been wanting to read this so badly. But I don't own the first two books in the series, so I was like, I'm not gonna go out and buy a copy of it, so I've been waiting for my library hold to come in, and I cannot wait to read this one. Honestly, I'm gonna need to get a little bit of a refresher on the first two because it has been like 2.5 years at this point since I read Bloodmarked, and I don't really remember a lot about it. So I'm gonna need like a little refresh on that, but I'm so excited to jump into Oathbound. Also, I love the like colors and art style of this cover. I think it's so cool. It really looks stunning, obviously, and I love the like knife sheath thigh situation. It's always good. So definitely will be reading this soon. And I'm very excited. So there's one thing. And then I did go to the thrift store on Friday. I got this little zip up thing also, which I love. It's my favorite color. But I got something that's like more relevant, I would say. And like maybe you've been able to see it here actually. But I saw that they had this little like tower thing. I was like, oh my God, that kind of looks like the Babel Tower. And then I was like, oh my God, it like actually just is the Babel Tower. This is like from Fairy Loot, and I just saw it at my thrift store for like $5. And I was like, yeah, okay. It even has like a little quote from R.F. Kuang like inside it. If you can see that, it says, "We're here to make magic with words." And it's like a little tea light holder situation. It looks so cute on my Dark Academia shelf, and I'm so happy that I have this. I didn't even know Fairy Loot made this. But when I was just browsing around, I was like, oh my God, she looks familiar. And then I picked it up and I was like, okay, so like obviously I'm gonna buy this. Yeah, I love it. Although I did put like a real tea light in this for like 3 seconds and it got so hot, so no real tea lights will be put in this. I will be getting battery operated ones. So those are the couple of fun things that I have acquired recently. But obviously I do want to give you guys my final thoughts on Empire of Shadows because I have gone ahead and just finished this book up. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. It was a great like action adventure, kind of fantasy romance situation. I would say the fantastical elements when they did come into play were very minimal, and it was more like magical realism as opposed to like direct magic, I guess, which is fine with me. Honestly, I didn't even realize there was a fantasy element to this until I was like halfway through the book. So whatever, like that's fine. I thought it was interesting, but I wouldn't really call it fantasy romance. It's more so just like historical romance. But the one thing that I must say about this book is that it is really long. Like it feels really long. I feel like 450 pages isn't that crazy for some books, but some books I really don't think need to be 450 pages long, and this is definitely one of them. There were a lot of things in the plot that I liked. There were definitely parts where I was very invested, but I also feel like there were some scenes that were just so dragged out and they felt like they were so long for absolutely no reason. And I feel like if this book was a little bit faster paced, I really would have loved it. But there were just some moments when I was honestly zoning out. I was like, we've been doing this for like 20 pages now. Can we like get it going, you know? And there were definitely some things in the plot that I appreciate that time being taken with, because this book does dive a lot into the history of the area that our characters in, and it really highlights a lot of the hardships that the people of this area have had to go through due to the effects of colonization and imperialism and all that kind of stuff. And obviously I like that the time was taken to highlight that, especially in a book of this nature. But there were just like points in the plot that like were really dragged out for no reason, honestly. But I did absolutely love the romance. I thought that Adam and Ellie had a really fun dynamic. They were definitely very exasperated with each other for a lot of the time, but then when they get into, you know, some life-threatening situations, they get really concerned about each other. That's when the true feelings come out, and it's always so good. Like, I just, for the most part, really liked their romance. The one thing that really was grinding my gears though, Adam does, like right at the beginning when they meet, he calls her princess in like a mocking kind of way, obviously, but he never stopped. And like, it was every single page he was calling her princess, and I was like, ew, like please stop. Because like at some point it turned from being mocking to being like maybe still a little mocking, but like maybe a little bit serious, and I was like, that's gross, and I hate it. I just feel like for the most part, if any character has like a term of endearment for another character in a book, it gets overused and it gets on my nerves, and this was not an exception, honestly. I mean, it does give you the added benefit of, you know, those moments when he ends up calling her by her real name instead of this term of endearment, but like that didn't happen. Like it happened a couple times and I was like, oh, that's kind of stunning. But like the other like 50 million times when he was calling her princess, I was like, make it stop. Like actually please make it stop, because I absolutely hate it. And I might continue on the series. I'm thinking I might. And if that continues, I'm gonna lose it. I might just lose it, honestly. But that was like my only gripe with their romance, but it seriously did happen on like every single page. And I was like, just drop it. Like you don't need to address her as anything. Just like don't say it. Oh, anyway, you can tell like that really got on my nerves. Another thing though that I want to bring up is that I don't exactly know if I like how this book ended, like what the conclusion of this story was. I do think it leads well into the next book. I think they're going to Egypt, which could be kind of fun. But the way that things ended up in this city that our characters were in, I was like, why is this what we're doing? I just like, it felt kind of weird for the message that the story has been trying to convey. So I was like, I don't know. I don't want to say anything else about it, but it just like, I don't like it. I wasn't a huge fan of that. But for the most part, I would say if you like The Mummy, if you like Romancing the Stone, I did watch Romancing the Stone last night. Me and my mom did. Peak 80s rom-com adventure kind of situation. It was fun. Again, there were some points in that movie that I did not like, but for the most part, it was a good time. So yeah, those are, you know, kind of all my thoughts on Empire of Shadows. Definitely fun. Maybe, I don't know if I liked it as much as I thought I was going to, but I still had a pretty good time with it. Now we can select my final book for the video. It is currently Sunday morning, and I'm supposed to post this video tomorrow, but I'm gonna let you know I don't think that's gonna happen. So I'll probably post this video on Tuesday, so I have like, you know, 2 days to read this book, and that'll be more manageable, but I definitely want to pick one that's not a library book. I would like to select a book that I own on my physical TBR, so if I pull out a brown slip, I think the brown slips are my library books. I'm not gonna read that, I'll tell you that right now, so let's select a green or a white one, see what I'm getting myself into. I'm just really hoping it's not something too long. I just got a peek at that one, so I'm gonna, well, this one fell out, so we're gonna read this one. You can see it first. What am I reading? I'm a little bit scared, honestly. I'm reading, oh, wait. You know, this actually, truly, what are the odds? What are the odds? I have this book right here. This is a book that I'm currently in the middle of, and I've kept saying like, oh, I want to finish that, but I want to finish filming this video before I get into finishing Carl's Doomsday Scenario. I feel like my pulls have been so nice to me, honestly. Like, what? I want to like pull another one and see what I could have possibly read, because I was so worried I was gonna get like the Wheel of Time or something, and I was like, oh no, you want me to read a 600-page book? Oh, you know, We'll Prescribe You a Cat wouldn't have been that bad. I wonder, like, what's this one gonna be? Cytonic? Yeah, I didn't want to read Cytonic right now. Anyway, those are just like random pulls for me. I'm not reading those obviously, but like I love the TBR jar. I just think it's fun. So I'm definitely going to keep the TBR jar because I'd like to do another video like this because I think this has been really fun so far, especially because the TBR jar has also just given me really nice pulls. So yeah, Carl's Doomsday Scenario, really not mad about this. I am currently in the middle of this book because I started this in my last vlog and I never finished it. So I'm currently on page 74 of this book. So I'm just gonna go from there. It's gonna be great. I'm so excited about this because this is just like another rip-roaring fun kind of reads. So yeah, I still can't believe it gave me like such a perfect book. Anyway, this is the last book that I will be finishing in this video. I am so happy. So I'm gonna go do that. I also really need to water my plants. Like guys, if you ever see my plants looking really sad in the background of my videos, casually ignore it. I promise they'll bounce back. They're pothos. I feel like they could survive like a nuclear explosion or something. So I'm gonna water my plants and then I'm gonna read. So perfect Sunday and Monday plans. Alright, hello, good morning. It is now Monday morning. Yes, I'm still wearing this zip-up sweater thing because honestly, did you even get a new piece of clothing if you don't wear it for like the next 3 days straight? No. But I have a couple of updates because I did some reading and then I also did some journaling this morning. I decided I wanted to make a spread for my obviously TBR jar situation that I'm doing this week. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. Obviously, I have not filled in the little square for Carl's doomsday scenario because I haven't finished it yet. But yeah, you just saw it. So I don't know why I'm showing you again, but like this is how it looks. And I did remake the slip for Ariadne. It is like a little bit, you know, they weren't exactly all the slips that I pulled out, but the slip that I had for Ariadne was white. And like white on white just like isn't gonna look good. So I did make a fake little slip. Like don't tell anybody. But yeah, I really like how this turned out. I decided to model it kind of after this spread that I did. I really like it when like the writing goes across the 2 pages. I feel like it really makes it seem like one full cohesive spread, you know? But yeah, that's what I've been working on this morning. Really happy with it. I also went to brunch this morning with my mom, which was so lovely. That's kind of what I've been doing this morning, but I also do have a reading update because I have been reading some of Carl's doomsday scenario. I decided to listen to the audiobook for this one, and that's kind of what I've been doing so far, and that's probably what I'll continue to do. I did start doing a little bit more work on my blanket last night, and by doing a little bit more work, I mean I've put like 2 points on. That's it. I'm just like, I'm running out of steam with this currently. With the motivation, obviously I want to get back into it because I really like how this blanket's turning out, but I don't know if I'm gonna do much more work on it this week. I feel like that's as far as I'm getting. Weenie, are you coming up? Come here. Hello. She wanted to come say hi, or she saw that I brought out my yarn and she wanted to scope that out instead. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, Carl's doomsday scenario, let's talk about it. I am currently on page 186, so I think I'm like exactly halfway through the book, maybe? Something around there. No, I'm a little bit over halfway, because like this book is only 350 pages, which kind of surprises me. I don't know why, but I think it's shorter than the first one, which is just interesting to me. I always expect like later books in series to be longer than the first one, so not that it matters, but it's just something I've noticed. But I've really enjoyed what I've read in this book so far. Obviously, I was really liking the first 75 pages that I read last week, so I'm continuing to really like it. But something that I really like about this book is some unexpected moments of character reflection that Carl was having during one of these battles that he was in. I was honestly taken off guard by it, but like in a really good way, because there were a lot of things that he was experiencing that were bringing up a lot of things from his childhood that he was kind of reflecting on and reframing and realizing things about. And I could definitely tell there was like, you know, some good character work in the first book being set up, but seeing a little bit more about it and getting to know more about Carl as a character and kind of diving into his childhood and his relationship with his parents, I was just like, I wasn't expecting that because this series is very like silly, goofy, alien game show, whatever, but like it also has those moments, like those deeper moments, which I absolutely love. I also really love the dynamic that has been kind of just continuing to form between Carl and Princess Donut. Princess Donut is a cat, if you are not aware. You like have no idea what this is. It's like a cat that he ended up bringing into this dungeon with him. And you wouldn't expect great moments of, you know, friendship building between them, but you can see just how much Carl cares about this cat, and you can definitely see how much, you know, Donut cares about him, even though she kind of has a very flippant attitude about a lot of things. You can tell there's more to it. And I've also just really enjoyed a lot of these situations that Carl has been put in this book. He is now on, well, I think he's on level 4 now at the point that I'm at in the book, but like so far this book has been focusing on level 3 of the dungeon. And I feel like level 3 feels a lot more like classic fantasy-esque, I guess. There are taverns and a bunch of different more like classic fantasy creatures, and there are also quests that the crawlers can embark on, which I think are cool, because the first book mainly focused on, you know, Carl and Donut just beating a bunch of like boss battles essentially so they could progress floors, but in this one there are kind of like side quests almost that they can go on, which some of them aren't necessarily gone on voluntarily. Especially the first one that Carl was dealing with, he was kind of coerced into it, kind of threatened into it, basically. But it's an interesting diversion from how the series has been going so far, and I liked that a lot just because it was a little bit different. So definitely just a lot of things that I've been loving about this book so far. I also absolutely love the audiobook. Like, I know everybody says that the audiobooks are great, but I'm also gonna tell you that the audiobooks are great. Like, the narrator that they have for these audiobooks is really giving it his all, and I feel like he really brings the story to life. The amount of voices that he does and like the different, I don't know, accents and inflections and whatever that he does for these characters really is so good. And I'm not judging this book, like the contents of this book, by the audiobook, obviously, because I was on Goodreads the other day, and this is a diversion from like what I've been talking about, but like I want to talk about it. And I saw this user who gave a book like a 2-star, so I was like, okay, what's wrong? Like, why'd you hate it? They said absolutely nothing about the book, but they were talking about how bad the audiobook was, and that's why they gave it 2 stars. And I'm like, you can't give a book 2 stars based on how the audiobook sounds. I don't know, I feel like that's an interesting way to rate books. Can't say I would do it, can't say I'd recommend doing that, but I just want to let you guys know, like, that's not what I'm doing. But I just want to let you know that the audiobooks for this series are really good, and I am going to have to continue to listen to the audiobook. So I think I'm going to continue to listen to the audiobook today. What I'm gonna do while I'm listening to this audiobook, I don't know, honestly. It'll just be a chill Monday. I have, you know, like 170 or so pages to go, so I definitely will be finishing this up, and then I'll give you another update about it later. So really enjoying Carl's Doomsday Scenario, just, you know, continuing to enjoy a lot of the books that I'm reading in this vlog. I realized yesterday, after I like filmed the clip of me picking the next book, that out of the 4 books that I've read for this vlog, 3 of them happen to be on my May TBR. I truly don't know how that happened, because my goal was to, you know, read random books off my TBR, but instead it managed to give me books that I was planning to read at some point this month anyway, which I feel like makes the video a little bit less fun because I'm not just like reading random books, but in a way it also makes it more fun for me because they were books that I was planning on reading anyway. I just couldn't decide which one to read. But anyway, that's kind of the update that I have for you guys this morning. As I said, I'm just going to spend the rest of my day finishing up Carl's Doomsday Scenario, and then I will see you guys probably tonight, this afternoon, who knows, after I finish this book up. All right, so it is later. It might be like 9 o'clock now. I'm kind of cutting it close here. But I have finally finished up Carl's Doomsday Scenario. I finished up the audiobook about 10 minutes ago. And again, I want to talk about how much I love the audiobooks for the series. Because even after the book is over, they're still putting in their all. And I just appreciate that. Because you know how there's always that part at the end of the audiobooks where it talks about like the publisher of the book and who was narrating the book and all of that. They still do that. Like, kind of not in character, but it's like an ad that would be in this world, but sharing that kind of information, if that makes sense. Like, just the attention to detail is so good. I just love it. But that has nothing to do with like whether or not I like this book, but it does have to do with the fact that I do love the audiobooks. So we'll talk about this in a minute, but I did want to tell you guys, or show you guys, what I ended up working on while I was listening to the audiobook today, because Mackenzie asked me to crochet her a hat. Like, she sent me a pattern for a hat because she doesn't crochet really, or she doesn't yet. She will, but she doesn't yet. And I was like, absolutely, sure, sounds fun. It's like a crochet mushroom hat situation. So I've been working on that today. This is how it looks. It looks a little bit ridiculous, just like flat. And honestly, it looks a little bit ridiculous on as well. Like at this point, obviously, well, actually, you know, that kind of slouched. Well, I feel like I've put this on a couple times just to see how it like is supposed to look on. And sometimes it just doesn't like slouch right in the back. But you know, this is the vibe. There are gonna be like little spots on it to make it look like a mushroom, and then there's also like an inside. The brim isn't done. I'm like, this has to be a lot wider. And then there's gonna be like a little, I don't know what like the inside of the mushroom is, like under the top of the mushroom, but there's gonna be like tan on the interior, if that makes sense. But honestly, kind of like the hat. Like, obviously not for everyday use, but I think Mackenzie's gonna wear it to a Renaissance festival, which would make a lot of sense. But like, low-key, without the spots and everything, I kind of just look like I'm cosplaying as a Keebler elf. And I can't lie, I do kind of love it. Like, it's just a fun hat, you know? But this does look a little bit ridiculous, so I will take it off. But I wanted to show you guys the project that I've been working on today. And it's been kind of fun. I've never crocheted a hat before, so I've kind of liked it. And I kind of want to modify this pattern and like make myself a bucket hat or something. That could be kind of fun, kind of cute for the summer. I don't know, we'll see. But that's what I've been doing. I hope I have enough yarn because this is currently all I have left, and I have like a few more rows to put on. It might be just enough, but I'm also a little bit scared it might be like just under. Just enough. And then I'm gonna be so salty, but I am obviously here to talk about the back half of Carl's Doomsday Scenario, which I absolutely loved. This book was so good. I loved it so much. I'm very tempted to give this book 5 stars. I don't know if it's exactly 5 stars, but like it's really close to 1, you know what I'm saying? Because everything that was happening in this book was either really funny, really touching, honestly. Like some of the character moments that Carl and Donut were having, I was like, oh my god, wait, like I love it. Or just really interesting plot-wise, because basically the entirety of this book subsists of them going on all of these different quests. Some of them are certainly a little bit more lighthearted than some others. There are definitely a couple that, you know, were happening. I was like, oh my god, like was not expecting that, but honestly really like some of the commentary that was like coming through with some of those. I thought it was really interesting. I also love it when Carl and Princess Donut end up going on talk shows, because there are like these talk shows that they can go on in between certain levels, and they get to like interact with the people of the galaxy basically. And I think the funniest part of this book, like there are many parts of this story that do have me like audibly laughing, like laughing out loud. I'm just like having a great time, obviously. But there's this one scene where Donut finally talks about Ferdinand, and even thinking about it now, it's so funny. And like Carl's reaction to it as well just made it so good. This series is just great, honestly. I feel like it's so well-rounded and I absolutely love it, and I cannot wait to continue on with book 3. I'm honestly a little bit sad that I didn't pick up book 3 when I was at Barnes & Noble earlier this week, because it was there. They had the whole Dungeon Crawler Carl display end cap thing. I picked it up. I had it in my hand. I was like, maybe I should just get it. But it is like a $30 hardcover, so I was like, maybe I will wait until I finish the second book. But now that I finished book 2, I'm like, damn, I should have just grabbed it, because I definitely want to read it soon. Honestly, it's just great. If you have not tried out Dungeon Crawler Carl and anything I've said about it sounds appealing, please check it out. If it sounds too stupid for you, don't, because like it will be. But I promise it's so good. Like I have just loved the first 2 books so far, and I cannot wait to get into the later books in the series. I think there are quite a few of them out at this point, like even in these republished hardcovers that they're doing. So I'm interested to see how book 3 is gonna go. Throughout this book as well, we also kind of got acquainted a little bit with some of the other crawlers that are doing very well, and I'm interested to see Carl's kind of run-ins with them, I suppose. There have also just been some new characters that we have been getting introduced to, some characters who I think are gonna be pretty central to the story overall. So I'm just really excited to read book 3. And initially, before I like read this one and finished it, I was thinking that Ariadne was my favorite of this video because I love this one too. But now I'm thinking it's probably Carl's Doomsday Scenario. I don't know, like both of these I feel were pretty close to being 5 stars. I really loved both of these, so I feel like this is a super solid reading vlog. I am so happy with the books that I ended up reading, so I really hope you guys enjoyed this vlog as well and had fun going on this journey with me. I will certainly be doing more TBR jar videos. I want to do another one like next month, honestly, because I feel like it's a really good way to get me to read books that have been on my TBR for like quite a while, that have kind of just gotten pushed aside a little bit. Obviously that didn't exactly happen with this video, seeing as 3 of the books that I read were on my May TBR. But I've had this one for quite a while and I had never read it, so that's good. Obviously, I would love to know, have you guys read any of the books that I read in this video? I would love to chat about them with you guys in the comments. Or if you haven't, just let me know what you guys are up to, what you're reading, how you're doing, anything, let me know. Also, before we go, I would like to thank everybody over on my Patreon if you are ever looking for more content from me. That is always linked down below. We do some fun stuff over there. Specifically this month, we are doing a week-long readathon starting on the 23rd of May. Which I can't wait for. It is called the Lepidoptera Readathon. We have a bingo board. It's gonna be a good time, and I can't wait, so. Winnie is also jumping in at the end here. There she is. Hi! She's like, you cannot end the video without me making my final cameo. Okay, anyway, yeah, again, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you're all having an amazing Tuesday morning, if that is the day that you're watching this. And me and Weenie that is, we'll see you in the next one. Bye!